All right, we're live. Welcome to another Friday edition of the Q&A with Alan and Marshall show. And welcome, and we're glad you're here. If you're tuning in, we have a special guest today. So, Alan, who is with us today?
Well, I am, Marshall, you know, and I've talked about it last week. I am so excited for this guest. We have Mark Granberry, who is the president and CEO of the Graphic Solutions Group, most commonly known as GSG in the market. They are a full-service supplier, and when I mean full service, if you want to do screen printing, you call them. If it's sign and digital, you call them. If it's embroidery, you call them. If it's heat transfer vinyl, you call them. Am I missing anything, Mark?
Yeah. No, I think you got it.
And, you know, I have known about GSG from early in my days, back when it was just Texas Screen. They were a Wilflex dealer. I worked for a large Wilflex dealer. I think, Mark, back then it was almost like Texas Screen, J Products, Joseph Podger Company. That was kind of the Wilflex Midwest sign. There was a Wilflex cartel. And but you have grown into, I believe, is it 9 branches throughout the Midwest. And when I think of Graphic Solutions, when I had to compete against them, it was not fun to do it. I'm so glad I'm on a team where I get to work with them. But they are known for one service, one top-end products, and just a very high-end company in there. They have watched them grow, and they are continually growing. And Mark, thank you for coming on. So Mark Granberry of Graphic Solutions Group. So thanks for being on the show.
Well, thank you. Thanks for those kind words. It's going to be a challenge to live up to those now.
Well, from somebody that's had to compete against you at times, yeah, that's true. So,
all right, well, great.
This is going to be an easy walk in the park at all.
So good morning, everyone that's tuning in. And I'd like to remind you, if you're watching, please say hello. I know we got a lot of people saying hello. And we would love it if you would share that you're watching our show today. Mm-hmm. Please share it. But more than anything, this is a Q&A show. So we're relying on you to give us your questions. And if you give us the questions, I promise we'll answer you. I don't know if you'll like our answers or not. We're gonna answer you to our best of ability, and but we need you to. It's all about engagement, so we need you to say hello first, and back when we get into our comments and topics, you know, let's get the discussion going, because that's how we make a really great episode. So
absolutely, a lot of people on already, Marshall.
Yeah, let's just say hello to a couple of people real quick. So Dan Campbell's here. So good morning, Dan.
From Alabama.
Peter Walsh is here, like he is about every week. So hey, Peter.
How you doing, Peter?
Cindy's here. And by the way, you know, a couple episodes ago, we talked about doing a cookbook.
Yep.
Right. And Cindy actually sent in her a recipe for tortilla soup. So thank you so much, Cindy. I can't wait to try to make that. I'm sure I'll burn it. But we'll try the recipe. And if you are watching right now and you want to participate, email me your recipe, and what we like is a picture of you or your whatever you're cooking, right? And the recipe, so we can put that into a little cookbook. So Jos is here from Sweden. So what's up, buddy?
Mark, is that your new, that's going to be your new branch there in Uppsala, Sweden, Jos is from?
That's it. I'm ready.
Who else is here? Lon's here. Good morning. Eric's here. Mark's here saying good morning to the boss. Charles Juros is here from New Mexico. Simon Clifford says, hi, guys, on vacation. So just saying hi.
Simon, your life is a vacation, though, I thought.
Brian's here from Missouri. All right. So, Cindy, here you go, Mark. We love GSG. They have been taking care of us for many, many years. So there you go.
Thanks, Cindy.
John Drake says, howdy.
Hey, John.
David Egger says, good morning.
Chicago.
Yep. Sam Bollinger says, good afternoon.
From Michigan. All right.
Ryan says, good morning.
From New Hampshire.
Right. John says, Yankees making Mexican food. What could go wrong? Hey, I live in Arizona, but I'm from Florida, so I appreciate that comment. And Josh Wiley says good morning. So
Thanks.
anyway, so that's good morning to everyone. And if you haven't said good morning or afternoon or whatever, that's okay. But please do so. Or at very least, we're going to get into some topics here in about 2 seconds. Please leave a comment or ask a question. Okay.
And
so you ready to get into some topics, Mark and Alan?
sure.
Let's do it.
Right. Our first one is all about scaling your business. And you've grown GSG over the years. So maybe before we get into hearing about everybody else's challenges with growing their business, maybe, Mark, you can give us kind of your origin story about growing GSG and what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, we started out as Texas Science Supply in 1950, and in the 60s, as screen printing got bigger, we split off and started a company called Texas Screen Process Supply. And that's really my dad and another man were partners, and my dad took the screen printing side, and so I grew up really in the screen printing supply side of the business. And then we had a third company. Fast forward to 2000, and over a lot of things changed, and I wanted to buy the business and then merge all three into one. The sign and the screen businesses were starting, especially on the commercial or graphic side, we're starting to merge. Digital printing had changed a lot of the graphic screen printing. So it just seemed to make sense that it was all part of the graphic marketplace. And then over the years, we acquired, a textile service company from Tony Bruckler. He had a maintenance and repair company, and then we acquired an embroidery company, and then over the last few years, we acquired a small supplier in Wisconsin, and we sort of acquired or started a startup in Minnesota, and then we acquired the old Cincinnati Sign Supply in Cincinnati. So we've tried to continue to in distribution. As it's changed, there's a lot of mergers, acquisitions, and it would be nice to stay one size company. And as a business, that's extremely difficult to do. And in distribution, you kind of have to get larger, kind of have to get big or go home, sort of thing. Yeah. That the manufacturers like to have companies that are continuing to grow and expand, and all that, of course, has its challenges to scale a business as you continue to grow, not only from the people side and trying to communicate and hire really good people, but from the financial side, as you grow the business, it takes a lot of capital to do that. So
I know, Mark, working for a company that you and I talked about that I worked for early on, they were a very large, at that time, a distributor. And one of the problems is that as you grow and start scaling, if you don't add that infrastructure and people, that there comes a time where, as an owner, you can do a lot of things. But I think a lot of the problem I see that's been in my experience is not giving the reins away in certain areas to help build that team to grow. I mean, that had to be huge for you. I know you've had some employees and some people that have been with you for the long haul, and you're always looks like bringing on new talent when available.
Yeah, it's in 2008-9 when things were, business sort of a real challenge for everybody.
Yeah,
that was a rough period.
Ugly.
We hired a consultant to come in, and that was really a lot of it. Is his kind of admonishment to me to start being a delegator and holding people accountable versus trying to do everything and make every decision. And probably the best thing that happened, we were able to really put some plans together as to what we were going to do, where we wanted to go. Even though we had those to some degree, we didn't have it as, I guess, formalized as he helped us get there. And, that sort of started that was probably the hardest thing to do. And I'm sure for a lot of apparel decorators, when you start your business and it's your baby and you've really grown it, and then to pass off a lot of that responsibility to others. And not surprisingly, they typically do a lot of those things better than you do. So that's you can't. I can't say enough about having great people that hiring really good people, talented people, and we've been blessed with having. We just have tremendous people that really make the company go. Makes me look good. Makes my job a lot easier.
I think that a challenge that a lot of smaller companies face, especially when there's just a handful of people, is that when I'm doing something, I know how I like to do it, but there isn't a key process where you've got, this is the standard, this is how we're going to do something, whatever it is. And that way you can train people on how to do things. And that makes it so much easier when you're bringing in people. So Mark, over the period of time you've built your business, can you talk about how you guys have incorporated standards and processes into how you do things, especially with how you're expanding? How has that made a difference for your business?
Yeah, there's there's really three parts to it. One is, of course, the products we sell and the technical experience. And honestly, to some degree, that's the easiest part of it, is how do you print or trying to communicate how to use a product. The harder things for us are, really we're a logistics company. And some of it is having a mission statement or a purpose, cause, passion statement, we call it. And our statement is to be the irreplaceable supplier to the graphics communication marketplace. And we talk about that weekly. We have a little weekly newsletter that goes to all the employees, and I'm always talking about somebody that stepped up and was irreplaceable to a customer, that they went above and beyond and tried hard. And we constantly talk about that, mainly so you're communicating how you want everybody to deal with their customers. So as you start to grow, people come in with their own preconceived ideas about what's right, wrong, I guess, in dealing with a customer. And so we're always trying to say how GSG wants to deal with customers and
Sure.
Try to do it in a way that, it's simple, how to care as much about the customer as they care about it, and try to help them resolve whatever issues there are and get products to them. But as far as processes, we went back a few years ago, set out to really document all of our processes and procedures, and because nothing's worse than expecting your shipment, you open it up and you got black instead of white, or you got the wrong thing or whatever. And so we went through all that very detailed documentation, procedures manual, and the reality was nobody really, it was impossible to try to teach that, especially if you have some turnover. And so we went back to a more simplified version of the top 10 list of any job. There's got to be, 5 to 10 things that are critical to making that job a success. So starting out, maybe it's just the top 5 things. You have to know these things to be able to do a particular job, and then expand that to the top 10. And we try to do that and continue to teach that and preach that as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
And use automation as much as possible to take away the human factor.
That's important. Not just, we talk about automation in the production side of it too, but I think in the administration and that whole front end, it's so important.
So we have a couple comments. I want to get to them. So first off, just want to celebrate one of your customers. So Cindy says the staff at GSG is awesome. If I cannot get what I'm looking for, I go to the top. Mark is always available.
Wow.
So there you go. That's excellent. And then Peter says, I've heard that many of the garment manufacturers and screen printing consumable suppliers, ink and chemicals, are having trouble keeping up with industry demands. And even at M&R, our equipment lead times have been extended. How is GSG being impacted by supply chain issues? So what are you doing, Mark?
It's a challenge. There's a few challenges there. One, when COVID hit, we stopped ordering because customers stopped ordering, and it was a domino effect down the line. And then as COVID hit, a lot of companies were having to close their plants because of outbreaks. And that just, the supply chain hasn't kept up because in, I guess, July, August, business started getting back to normal, and there just hasn't been enough availability of product. And combine that with now a lot of shipments coming from overseas are sitting out off the coast. They can't get in because either a lack of dock workers or too much freight, and shipping costs from overseas have gone up. Like 4,000%. There's a worldwide shortage of containers. And everybody in our industry, we're all dealing with overseas, whether it's China or India or Indonesia, right, or somewhere. We're getting product from overseas, and some of that's raw materials and some of it's finished goods. But and all that has a trickle down domino effect with everyone. And I know in the plastisol business, there's a resin manufacturer in Texas that I think had a fire or something in the middle of COVID, and then shut down for their cleanup. And and then I think they had to shut down again last week when the power outages. So it's made some plastisol, anybody that's working with PVC, a lot of people were having to reformulate product to overcome this shortage of product. And I think it'll continue this year. It's going to be a challenge. And
so Mark, are you recommending? We know that this SKU, whatever it is, might be challenged with logistic issues. Right. Are you sourcing a backup or an alternative or some sort of something to help out? What are you guys are doing?
Yeah, I would, we're doing everything we can to, we have some really good systems, purchasing systems, and we can put in, if lead times jump by a week or 2 weeks, we can plug that in and immediately it'll show that you need to order X more product, because for us, purchasing is usage times lead times. And, but, if there's a worldwide titanium dioxide shortage, so white inks are going to be a challenge. I guess I would say try to have, we've always prided ourselves on being able to deliver just in time. And I wouldn't say stock up and wipe everybody out of white ink, but, it would pay to have an extra gallon or an extra 5 gallon or something on hand, because I think it's going to be, I don't think this will resolve itself in the short term. It'll be more, like end of the year, first of next year.
Right.
Yeah. And it's in all, go ahead. It's in all industries. Like you said, it's scaling down. For people listening, Mark mentioned titanium dioxide. That is a product used in white ink. It's one of the, it's referred to as TiO2 normally, but that is the main component to make white inks white. So
John has a really good comment. We don't have a lot of orders now, but what we do have, we can't get all the shirts. And John, I've spoken, I'm a consultant. I speak with 6 to 8 to 10 shops every day. And I can tell you that there's a chunk of the people that I'm talking to who, when they order shirts, they're actually ordering a little bit extra every single time. And they're building up a stock of shirts in their shop. So, and I was like, well, that sounds a lot to me like the problem with toilet paper that we had when we had COVID. And because people they know when everything opens up, whenever that's going to be, a lot of people are going to want shirts right this second now. And right now we're having issues trying to get black shirts and that kind of stuff. So when they're ordering, what's happening is, a lot of times, to get free shipping or whatever, they're actually ordering an extra case or 2 or 3 or whatever of white, black, gray, team color, wherever they live. And they're just putting those right on the floor, and they're taking an inventory position because they know by the end of the year, they can sell them, right? Because they'll have the shirts. And because they're worried about their distributors running out of stuff. And I think Mark's statement, where maybe you order an extra gallon of white or black or whatever, just to make sure you have it, could be a good thing for you guys to do. And I don't have all the answers. I'm just telling you what other folks are doing. So
I do think, Marshall, you're absolutely right. Mark's absolutely right. A lot of times we've gotten so used to being able to that I'm scraping the bottom of the bucket of our white ink. I can always call and it'll be there tomorrow. Well, the JIT is good, but it's better to have, if you're going through 5 gallons a month, have an extra 5. And when that second 5 is open, order another one then. Same thing on your garments, same thing on your emulsion, your reclaiming chemicals. Those are things that if you don't have, your business stops. And we just got to do things a little different.
So Dan says we need GSG further into the East Coast. See, I told you, Mark.
Perfect.
And then Cindy says GSG is very good about sending regular emails, letting us know of inventory issues and price increases. John comments as we're scaling our business down, lean and mean. I completely understand that.
Absolutely.
Most of the shirts we do are customer supplied. Well, the problem, John, is that if they're customer supplied and your customers can't find the shirts, maybe spend a little extra time and find out who does have the shirts, because maybe you need to go to an alternate brand because they're not out, right? Or a different supplier. Sean wants to know, hey, Sean, by the way, thanks for watching. We should consider getting an extra 5 gallon of Easy Way 842 and 701. Sean, I know Alan's going to say yes.
Well, I think there's a number missing. You meant an extra 55 gallon, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Sean, great customer out of Atlanta, out of Georgia. So
always a salesperson.
Yeah.
Right? So let's shift to the next topic, which is business relationships matter. And especially if we're talking about logistics, supply chain, shops rely on you, Mark, to help them out. And of course, you rely on your partners to get your products in the door so you can distribute them. So talk about a little bit about the relationships and how you guys are thinking strategically and long-term instead of just transactional.
Yeah, of course, the relationship with your customers make a difference. And we always try to, try to treat people like we want to be treated and develop those relationships. And hopefully, so if something does go wrong, which at some point it will, they can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, this didn't work out right. And, we resolve to try to make it right every time. But it also makes a difference as a distributor. We work on our relationships with our vendors as well and try to make sure we get to know those vendors well from a personal standpoint as well as professionally, so that when COVID hit and my relationships with the guys at M&R, Danny Sweem and I talked, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week during those first few weeks as to what was going on, what was happening. And it makes a difference, when you have that relationship with someone. And I would say that, with a customer, develop that relationship with your distributor, your supplier, even when, hopefully before there's not an issue, so that, because I think I know a lot of distributors as well. We talk occasionally and talk about the challenges each face with it, or with product or vendors or whatever it might be. And, we all want to really, all of us want to help and take care of our customers and do a good job for you. So if you have that relationship and you can call when things don't go right, then we're all looking to help make that happen.
Absolutely.
I think there's some other relationships too. Finding a good banker. If you're in business and you're trying to grow, make sure you have a relationship with a banker, not the bank, because the bankers will typically move around and hopefully they get to know your business, and you may not need, any money or capital currently, but you may at some point, and you don't want to wait until there's a real catastrophe or a need for financing to do that. And then, having a good CPA, and then maybe even a board of advisors, and it could be one or two people that help you and tell you what they really think about your business plan, or help you develop that business plan and give you really good feedback. All those relationships make a big difference. I've said for years that going to trade shows were great because of selling product and so forth, but I always got more out of meeting people and talking to people, and usually learned some little something that really helped our business in the after hour or before hour conversations that you have that have nothing to do with the product or maybe the show at hand. And it makes a difference. And if you're not doing that, then it's probably going to hurt your business some.
Yep.
Right. I think, what you said about a banker really came true this past year for a lot of companies. When it came time to get to look at PPP monies and stuff.
Right.
And if you just had a relationship with a large bank and not the banker, they were hurting. And there are companies I know of that said, we were with XYZ big bank and they were just worthless. So we started a relationship with a local one, and it's been night and day.
Yeah.
So that is so important.
I have a consulting client right now that's trying to buy a press, and they've actually got money in the bank, and but they're trying to work through their financing, and because they've never really bought big equipment before, it's become a big challenge, and they are using a national bank who really doesn't care about them. And so and they've actually started looking to local banks, and the local smaller banks are like, well, you don't have a relationship with us.
Right.
And so right now, when they need it most, they're finding it difficult to get the money that they need. And and they're trying to execute on their vision. And so that's, what's the quote? The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is today.
Yeah.
Right. And so right now, what are you doing? And do you have that relationship with people? I think that really matters. Right. So, hey, we got some comments. Just want to make sure we get some. So, where are we here? John Drake says, Vortex. I don't know what
Vortex
that
is.
That's our.
It's a house brand.
He's private label ink. Yeah.
Yeah. For ink and chemical. Good products.
And, Jay says, how you doing?
Mr. Simpson.
John says, bring back Visions.
I don't know what Visions is.
We started a deal many years ago. There really wasn't, the only show was the Imprinted Sportswear show once a year, and it kind of started moving around a little bit. And so we started putting on our own little trade show in the spring, and then 2 or 3 other shows started coming around and sort of conflicted with it, and trying to coordinate with vendors to come in and so forth, and have the space to do it during the business hours made it a challenge. But it was a big. We had a lot of educational sessions, and that was primarily educational sessions, but also some kind of a mini trade show. It was great,
almost like open houses.
Yeah, but we would bring in booth carpet and drapes and put it down the aisles and really make it a
I think with the lack of trade shows, that might be something that, who knows, in the future for
so Cindy says, we're located in the middle of nowhere. It was great help when GSG started trucking their products for their customers. It's comforting knowing my product will be here when I need them. And I think the key to Cindy's statement there is the fact that it's the emotional link that she has with you guys that matters. And that's what we're talking about here with the relationship driven thing. So,
that's something that, I deal with your company just on one of your Far East branches just recently with Ohio. And the fact that you deliver in this part of the country for screen, that's almost unheard of. And that's going to be a great asset for you. And that's, with your own trucks.
We kind of go, we have a different philosophy than some of our competitors in that we've always found it easier to deliver on our own vehicles, and easier in some ways, more challenging in others. But a lot of our guys that deliver, they become like a pseudo salesperson for the company because they're and when there's when there's an issue or a problem or a damage or anything like that, then they're dealing with our person versus a UPS driver or courier or anything else. So it's a big investment, but we found that it works better for us to deliver where we deliver the products ourselves. We run like Cindy's out in Odessa. It's a 4 or 5 hour drive from Dallas, but we deliver all out through West Texas, and it just makes it easier to do business that way.
So do you have like a route, Mark, where there's scheduled like circles or whatever through things?
We do, yeah. We have a guy that lives out in West Texas. We drive from Dallas, and they swap trucks, and then he'll deliver all out through West Texas on a typical route. Like Monday we'll go this way, and Wednesday this way, and so forth. So
that's good.
It just seems to work better for us.
Yep,
that's great.
So Eric with Actions here says, great interview, watching it all. Thank you, Eric. Jay says, great foo, whatever that means.
Not sure. All right, Jay Simpson. So here's the story. Jay Simpson knows Mark. I talked to Jay last week or this week earlier, and Jay used to be with a company called Cincinnati Printing and Drying. They made equipment, and Mark, I think you guys were a very large dealer for them.
Right.
Jay then went to Jay Products. He didn't own it, but just had the same first name as the equipment manager. And I had to teach Jay everything he knows about equipment and how to sell. I realized how little he knew. I was in my 20s. He knew nothing. No, he was my equipment manager. And we, he knew how. You've heard me talk about back then. It was young, angry Alan. He actually knew how to harness young, angry Alan into selling and stuff. So I am so glad that
are
Jay.
You angry?
Pardon me? Yeah, there was a time where it was young, angry Alan.
No, but you're not angry now, are you?
No, not now. But the late great Joe Clark told me when I got into the academy, I told him, I said I was just amazed that they didn't throw me to the curb 20 years ago. He goes, no, we never threw you to the curb. We might have had a meeting about it a few times, but no, we never did. So yeah, I had a little bit of a temper.
That's great.
So
Josh says, best supplier we have, always willing to help out the small guys.
Thanks, Josh.
And then Charles wants to know, how far West Texas do you go?
Yes.
Probably the Midland, Odessa. We go to Lubbock, Amarillo. That's probably beyond that. The next town is El Paso, about another 5 hours down the road. So it's that Midland, Odessa area is probably the furthest.
Charles is in New Mexico. Do you go out to New Mexico?
We just ship out there at this point.
To Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Cindy says, we have a great driver, Josh. Our products will not be damaged, especially our sign materials.
So right there shows that the driver is not just a delivery guy. There's a relationship there. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, good. And Jay says he's throwing the flag. So, and then Yosta says, you're not delivering to Sweden then.
Close. I'll bring it over personally.
Well, we've been talking about Alan and I going to Sweden and doing a remote show there. So maybe you can come with us.
Perfect. I'm in.
Let's go. That would be a lot of fun. Yosta, you ready to host us there on the farm?
Charles says we're 30 miles from El Paso.
Meet the truck.
And Peter says, can GSG deliver to Amarillo by morning?
We can.
Yeah. And you're singing George Strait the whole time, right?
Wonderful. I think also, Mark, you talked about your relationships with customers we're seeing and vendors and everything. You also have not been afraid, GSG, to reach out to other industry experts to help your customers and stuff. I know you've worked with Lon Winners. You work with Ray Greenwood on the industrial side at times. And then you have Mark Soldonic, who has been here as a listener. We're going to have him on the show as your application specialist. How important has that been? Because I think that is great, and I can't believe more people don't take advantage of that. But you have always been on the forefront of that, it seems like.
Yeah, a lot of our sales guys are really experts in the field, but if you're calling on a customer all the time, sometimes that message gets it's just different coming from someone else than your sales rep, and sometimes the sales rep, their job is to go sell. So and sometimes the customer has more issues than they may have time at that time to solve. And so, and there's some specialty things that, Mark makes any kind of screen printing look very easy.
Absolutely.
And we, on the digital side, we have the same thing. We have a gentleman, Jim Melanson, that is application specialist for digital printing, because, screen printing, digital printing, it's all a sum of its parts. And if you don't get all those pieces and parts correct, then your finished product is not that great. And we just found that we have to be more than just a distributor product. Otherwise, I guess Amazon could sell screen printing supplies, and
they do.
They do. But it's just a matter of, we want to be more than we feel like we have to be more than that, because relationships do matter, and helping people improve their processes and so forth. If they're a better printer and they're doing better, then hopefully they'll make more money and they'll keep buying more products from us. And at the same time too, I think we've always felt like you have to give back to the industry. I've been involved in all the associations over the years, and most of that really is just to try to give back something to the people that support us every day.
Yeah.
Good.
Marshall and I agree. We've both been in that. We've both been on boards and SGIA and speak and do what we have to do. Yeah.
So we got a couple comments, and then we'll switch to the next topic. So Jay says, just introduced to you guys in Cincinnati, Mark, going to try you as a supplier.
Right.
So Jay has a sign shop now, JMR Supplies. So
good.
He was teasing me on the phone. I threatened to let you know who he's really ordering from. So
Yosa says that we're welcome to come out. And Cindy wants to know, is he sent his recipe in for the cookbook?
There you go, girl stuff.
Josh says, Mark is a rock star and has really made him a better printer. So there's something about that. So good.
The videos that GSG has been doing, if people have not been watching, they have been having application videos. It started through this COVID thing, but they have been just incredible. I've had the ability to share some of them and love watching them.
So Craig says, Mark is great asset to GSG in the industry, even if he needs a haircut.
Exactly.
And Peter says, really admire GSG's commitment to educating the garment decorating industry on the best products and processes. No one does it better. Good comment, Peter. So let's move to our next topic, which is about philanthropy. And before we get into that, one of my friends has written a book, which I think everybody should get, which is called Red Goldfish. You can buy it on Amazon. It's all about it's Red Goldfish promo editions. There's 2 books. You got to get the promo edition one. And he has written it with Stan Phelps. So my friend is Roger Burnett. And I think to key this thing up, I pulled a quote out of here that I just want to read real quick. It's like a phrase, right? So Arthur Ashe says, from what we get, we can make a living. What we give, however, makes a life. And so when we think about purpose for selling, this is how we combine selling with some sort of purpose, a give back. This could be you're supporting cancer or wounded warriors, or maybe you have a buy one, get one where, you sell something and something goes to another cause or something. Or we're interested in sustainability, or there's something about whatever you're doing that has a purpose. And when we have a purpose behind what we sell, generally that's going to resonate more with your target audience because they're in alignment with that and they care about that too. And I know that, Mark, you guys do some stuff. So can you talk about your thinking with what you guys are doing and how that's made an impact?
Yeah, I think over the years, we were always got asked to donate to something or do this or that, and we tried to do as much as we could. And then in I guess in 99, 2000, my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and it all sort of culminated around the time that just before the ISS show in Fort Worth. So we decided to have a little golf tournament just to support a charitable organization called PanCan, and they raise money to provide research for pancreatic cancer. Mm-hmm. So we did it that year, and thankfully my dad lived another year, which is pretty unusual with that cancer. And we did it again the next year, and we just kept doing it until we didn't do it last year because of COVID. But I think we've raised about $250,000 over the last 20 years for PanCan and pancreatic cancer research. And then my granddaughter was diagnosed with aplastic anemia about 3 years ago, and we started raising money for. All of a sudden, my mind went blank. It's the basically it's the charity for where you can donate bone marrow. You get tested, your DNA, and send it in, and they will. We did last year. We sold a pink M&R printer to raise money for that, and we developed an HTV custom color called Peyton Pink. Her name's Peyton, and be the match. Thank you, Jared. My old age is catching up to me, but so we raised money for Be the Match as well, and then we think it's really important, and we try to raise money every year. We probably haven't. I know we've advertised it some, especially the Be the Match and Peyton Pink, and but we probably need to. I think you made a good point, Marshall, that you have to make that drive that point home with your customers to know that we're not here just to turn a profit. We're here to give back and help others as well that are where we can.
Agreed. And I thought it was awesome that on Be the Match on the Peyton Pink that Caesar supported you on that of creating that custom color. So I thought that was wonderful.
Talk about that a little bit. What is that about?
Be the Match? No,
the custom color from Caesar. What is that?
Yeah, they'll make a custom heat transfer vinyl. If it's, I can't remember what the minimums are, but if you wanted your own custom color, you could do that. It takes I don't know, 8 to 10 weeks or so to get that done. And if it's really popular enough, they'll add it to their product line. And because everybody in the HTV world, especially in the more craft market, they're always looking for the latest, hottest, newest color out there. So there's a lot of people that'll come up with. I think just when we started looking at pinks, there were. I think there are 20 different pinks they offer in heat transfer vinyl. So, but everybody has sort of that shade they want to. They want different than anyone else. So, and a lot of the resellers will come up with their own custom colors that only they have, so that it's building a niche for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good. So I really like that, and kudos to you for doing that. And so once everything opens back up, do you foresee starting the golf tournament back?
I think we probably will. We probably will this year. We probably could have done it last year. I mean, there was no real restrictions in Texas. We just felt like we wanted to be more cautious than maybe many were being, and we didn't want to put people in harm's way. We did do we sent out to a lot of the people that had sponsored the event in the past. We sent them a little, I guess, care package goodie bag and asked them to contribute. And many of them contributed to the to PanCan even without having the tournament. So
That's great.
It was really good.
Well, that's excellent. Okay, so here's our last topic. 2021 business forecasting, get prepared. And the reason I think this really sticks is for me and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is I think Q2, midsummer, somewhere. And of course, I think when events happen, we can go to a baseball game or we can go to a concert. Maybe that's going to happen this year. People are going to get more comfortable in doing things. And that means in this industry, we're busy, right? And I think what we need to be really thinking about is building our infrastructure and building our processes and getting ready for that. Because right now, a lot of shops, whatever they were last year, they're operating with 50 or 60% of their staff, and they're not really prepared. And I think once that switch happens, now what are we doing? And I'm very interested in your thoughts on this, because guess what they're going to need? They're going to need supplies.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about this, and how are you getting prepared for that?
Because Mark, I know you have a crystal ball and you've seen into the future.
I think business is going to be tremendous. I think once, and we're starting, in Texas, we've been a little more, probably more like Florida in that we've opened up more quickly than others. If you go out to eat today, you really wouldn't, except for maybe spacing of tables or something. There's not a lot of difference. People are going out to eat and so forth. And as the vaccines get out there, as more people get vaccinated, and then I think that even without that, I think people are just tired of being restricted, and they're ready to get out and do things, whether that makes perfect sense or not. And I think that the last half of 2021 is going to be really busy, and I think a lot of people during COVID, we sold a lot of equipment. I think a lot of people looked at saying, okay, I don't have as many people, and I don't know that I want as many people going forward.
Right.
But I want to do the same or more volume, and I need to automate my processes with equipment so that I can do as much or more with fewer, with less overhead. One, because as we all know, it's been a challenge to find people that to work in the industry, and so there's a real need for that. Plus, direct to garment, print on demand is becoming more and more a part of every apparel decorator. What they're doing, and it doesn't have to be, but a lot of people are going that way. And we build a lot of direct to garment equipment because people are finding that that's another part of their offering.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest challenge really is going to be supplies, and then the other thing is we spent a lot of time during COVID. We put a lot on producing videos and started really upping our training game, because we couldn't go out and train in person. So and it's made a big difference, and we're going to continue that to. So it's a great time to get your processes documented and train your folks, and then automate where possible.
Agreed. I think, what you said about video and training, Marshall and I have talked about this. We don't think there's going to be a new normal on that, or it's going to go back to the way it was. What do we say, Marshall? This is just the next normal. This is the next normal. This is where we're at. It has forced us to be here. And you know what? It's not a bad place either on some of these things, to do them more virtually, to do live things like this, to do the video training that you guys have jumped in so well with. And I think that's just going to be part of the business plan and needs to be.
Yeah. And I've talked to so many shops that are really worried about what's fixing to happen. And what they're doing is they're planning, they're scheming, they're putting the processes in place. I was talking with a shop the other day, and kind of like how Uber has the variable pricing when there's lots of demand.
Right.
They're thinking about having a price list that the pricing could go up when there's so much demand. Who do you pick? Whether maybe their prices fluctuate, and they're working on that idea. I don't think they've got it fine tuned yet, but that's just something that was their thinking, right? Which I'm like, man, that's just really smart. And just really kind of looking at what they're doing and the customers that they're working with, and minimums and just all kinds of crazy stuff. Now they're thinking about, when everything opens up, how are we going to get everything handled? And so I think that's something that if you're not doing that now, like whatever you're doing, imagine it 10 times busier. I can't handle it. And if you can't handle it, don't wait till you get the orders in and then you're suddenly faced with that problem. Start trying to think about that now. That's what I'd be thinking about.
Well, I think as trade shows have, let's say we haven't had one in over a year now, and I'm not sure when they come back, how many will be coming back and in what numbers. It's going to be a new normal. And I think things like we've talked about, we've got to, as suppliers, as manufacturers, as end users and printers, how are you going to get your message across? How are you going to stay connected with your current clients and also your new clients that aren't there, that have no idea who you are or what you do? Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be, it's another tool in the toolbox, but I think it's a very big, important tool. Right.
Got some good comments here. So Peter gave the link for the pink cruiser. So thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. And then Greg says paying it forward is part of paying it back. Appreciate that. And then you were talking and I showed this, but want to make sure this gets out. So Greg Kitson says, great observation on process automation and right-sizing staff.
Mark, you talked about you guys being a lot more logistics as a supplier. And, you know, seeing Greg there reminds me of him, and I were talking, and he said that before, as far as his company, Mind's Eye Graphics, out of Decatur, Indiana, contract printer. Greg has said, he goes, you know what? We're basically a logistics company. And by the way, we do print about 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's all about that. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And then Cindy wants to know if you guys do embroidery videos, because she's an embroiderer.
I think we've done one, but we'll be doing more.
Okay. And then Dylan says, hey, just signed on. I guess, is that how you pronounce it?
That is Daylene Knickerbocker. So she is in a little town. I'm going to have to give her a shout out of Lapeer, Michigan, and a small shop, and about 6 miles from my house. My brother is the undersheriff for Lapeer, and my nephew plays football and is best friends with her nephew. So I have to take care of Daylene. So thank you for watching here.
Excellent.
But yeah, so thank you, Daylene. I know you're busy, and but really, she is an embroiderer. Bought a shop. Talked to her. I went in there. How are you doing? Okay, what do we need to do different? Well, a lot. And actually spent the money. Went out to the Vastec training school for 3 days. She's really just great. And you know, one of those people. We support local business. I want her to be successful, so I'll do anything. So,
right.
Daylene, thank you so much.
Right. So Mark says, just made a haircut appointment. You win, guys.
Oh, I don't believe that.
We need to, you know what you do? You should do a video of you getting your haircut, Mark. I think that would go over big.
Is this going to be marketing back to the Mohawk? Is that it?
Yeah. Greg says the airline industry was one of the first with on-demand pricing. Interesting concept. How do you educate buyers on demand price fluctuation? I don't know, Greg. I was just talking with them, and that's something they're noodling around with. That doesn't mean they have the answer.
Yeah.
So, I think it really depends on your customers more than anything. You know, and also what customers are you taking, right? So if you've got a lot of, it's all about alignment more than anything, I think. John says fluctuating prices with wholesale customer, it won't work. Of course it won't work, but maybe it will. I don't know. So
never say never,
right? You know, a long time ago, you wouldn't think that you could sell a spare bedroom online to people and have strangers come visit you, right? But that's how Airbnb works, right?
Absolutely.
So who knows, right? 2120, yeah, trade shows canceled. Yeah, we mentioned that, Peter. And then also the Atlantic City show has been postponed to August 26th to 28th.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg says never say never.
There we go.
Side note, Mark did not pay me to make all my comments. GSG is such a great company. There you go. But you're going to get a care package. Alex says AC moved to August 2. Yeah, thanks, Alex. Hey, your boss is watching now. And
they're always watching. They just don't always respond. So they're always watching me.
So we got a couple minutes left. So before we go, Mark, why don't you talk about what GSG is working on? You got any things that are in the hopper? What's going on with you guys?
Well, we took the opportunity during COVID. Our ERP system, they were moving towards the cloud, and so we started working towards that. We upgraded to a new version of the software, to kind of an interim step to go to the cloud with them. We also got a new phone system during that time and implemented that, which was probably the easiest phone system implementation I think we've ever done. It's mostly in the cloud as well. We're continuing to do the training. We just added some square footage across from our Dallas facility, mainly to handle a lot of the bulk shipments that come in via container. But also we've got an area set up where we'll be able to do a virtual trade show there because we think that'll continue. Even if it doesn't continue as a trade show, it'll continue to, you could do demos with someone. Maybe it's a quick demo just to see if that might fit, and then they come in later, or, whatever. We bought some software called Hopin. That's a kind of a virtual trade show software that we'll be using and doing more of that. We think that'll happen. COVID, of course, kind of forced all of our inside salespeople. Most of them work from home today, and that will probably continue. I guess a lot of those folks would rather not drive, fight traffic for 30 minutes or an hour or so. So that'll probably continue. We're going to be launching a new website. We upgraded the software for our website, and that'll probably launch early Q2. And then we're just continuing to monitor. There's a lot of merger acquisition activity going on out there. So we'll continue to look for opportunities where we can continue to grow and scale the business, those that make sense, and then just continue to try to every day make sure we have product on the shelf so we can go. I think that's going to be the big challenge in 21. And talking about pricing, maybe it's not fluctuating pricing, but it could be that you're not doing jobs for people. I mean, if you've got only so much production time and all these jobs coming in, then you want to do the jobs that are going to be more profitable for you than some of those aren't. So maybe it's just picking and choosing.
Yeah, I heard a great term the other day. I was talking with Brett Bowden. I'm sure you know him. He's in Dallas area, and so he doesn't charge rush fees. He charges guaranteed delivery. So he's got his normal turn time. So if you want it sooner than that, then there's a guaranteed delivery. And I just love the verbiage on that. So
yeah, absolutely, very good.
So we got comments real quick. Alan, sorry I cut you off. What are you?
We've Mark on that point too. We've talked a lot with clients and customers, going, let's look at your customers. Why are you doing that? If you're not making profit on them, why are you doing that job? Send it out, do something, but start doing the work that you make profit.
Frankly, Alan, I think a lot of shops don't know how to calculate that.
Exactly.
And because a lot of pricing is spreadsheet based and doesn't account for their overhead and all the other costs they have.
Right.
All they're doing is just marking up the garment with a percentage that they invented.
Yep.
Does that make sense? And so, and we've gone over this a little bit previously, but I think you really need to kind of figure out how you're constructing your price list. And if it's based on the average of everybody around you, by the way, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
So got some comments. Let's just make sure we get to them. Greg says California is going to be a long time before they open up for trade show. I think you're right there. Jared's making fun of your Alex. He's the Debbie Downer.
I wasn't laughing, Alex.
Frank Good says, great job, Mark, for all you do in Texas. Doug Berger is the best in Houston.
Thanks, Frank.
Greg says, hold out for a few weeks and make it the first annual COVID cut. Talking about the haircut, I guess. Great delivery, great marketing presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. And Jay says, Mark, if you're ever in Cincy, look me up. Love to reminisce old times.
I'll do it.
I'll join you. Jake and Pay.
Excellent.
Jake and Pay. All right. Well, great. Any last minute thoughts before we go, Mark or Alan?
No, I've been in this industry a long time, and I tell people, especially young folks that start out with us, I said, look, you're either going to love this or hate it. And
Yep.
If you hate it, you need to get out and go do something else. But otherwise, you fall in love with it, and it gets in your blood where, you look at every shirt or every sign or whatever. You're always thinking about the industry, and you guys are that way. I mean, you're always you're always talking, thinking about screen printing, apparel decorating in some way, and it's a fantastic industry. A lot of great people, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
I agree.
All right.
I agree. Mark,
All right.
best way to get a hold of you, would that just be the website?
Yeah, you can get the website. You can call my mobile, whatever. Go GSG. There it is. If you want to talk to me, call the office. It transfers my mobile, so I'm always available.
Sounds great. Gotta love an owner that'll take a call still.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate you. Hey, we're going to end the show, so don't go anywhere, right?
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Everybody for watching. Make sure you share this and leave some comments.
Yeah, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Do we have anybody next week, or is it just us?
It's just me and you. They get a break, and it'll be boring. But in March, we have Joe Piazza from Caesar North America going to be on, and then Justin Lawrence from Oklahoma Shirt Company. So I'm very excited about that.
Excellent.
And then the next month, it's Mr. Greg Kitson.
Woohoo!
So I got some more we'll announce later on.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic weekend.
Have a great day.